Hi, this is Doug Marks with Security Onion, and in this short video we're going to walk through Setup Phase 2. So we're going to double-click Setup and enter our password. We're going to say yes, continue. Setup detects that we've already configured our network interfaces, so we're going to skip that part. Here we're prompted for quick setup or advanced setup. If this is your first time installing Security Onion, we highly recommend that you choose quick setup, as it's going to ask you the minimum number of questions to get you up and running as quickly as possible. However, if you have used Security Onion before and you're ready to do your enterprise production deployment, you definitely want to run advanced setup, and that's what we're going to demo today. On this screen you have the choice of installing just a server or just a sensor, or both the server and sensor components in a standalone configuration. And that's what we're going to do. Here we're going to set our Squeal username, and we're going to set our email address and create a password and confirm that password. Here we're going to set our default IDS engine to snort and our default IDS rule set to emerging threats. And remember from previous videos that this virtual machine has two interfaces. Ethernet 0 is our management interface, so it has an IP address. Ethernet 1 is our sniffing interface, so it has no IP address and it's optimized for sniffing, and that's the interface that we want to monitor. So we select that and click OK. When you run advanced setup, you do have the option to selectively enable and disable sensor processes. So on this screen, we do want to enable the IDS engine. On the next screen, we see that Security Onion has pfRing built into it by default, which means that we can spin up multiple snort instances to handle higher amounts of traffic. This virtual machine has 2 CPU cores, so I can create up to 2 instances of snort. We're not going to be handling a lot of traffic in this demo, just going to be replaying some simple PCAPs. We really only need one. Would you like to enable Bro? Yes, I would. And again, Bro is compiled against pfRing, so we can spin up multiple Bro workers if we need to. But for this demo, we only need one. The HTTP agent takes the HTTP logs from Bro and sends them to the Squeal database. This will come in handy later on in our demo, so we'll enable that. Argus listens on your network interface and writes session data to your file system. We have some other forms of session data that we're going to leverage today, so we don't really need Argus for this demo. We'll disable it. One of the other forms of session data that we have comes from PRADS, which is also creating asset data. So we will enable PRADS. Full packet capture is very powerful from an investigative standpoint, so yes, we do want to enable full packet capture. We'll keep the default of 150 megabyte PCAP files, and we'll keep the default of 90% disk usage threshold, where we begin purging old PCAPs and log files. Salt is a brand new feature that we just added to Security Onion. It's a configuration management and remote execution tool similar to Puppet, if you're familiar with that. So that enables us to manage all of our sensors from our central master server, and we'll enable that. Also is a nice web interface for hunting through your logs. So this could be standard syslog being collected by syslog-ng. This could be your OSSEC alerts or your OSSEC raw logs, or this could be all your Bro logs. So it doesn't matter whether you have hundreds, thousands, millions, or even billions of logs. ELSA is going to enable you to slice and dice those logs in mere seconds. So yes, we'll enable ELSA. So at this point, Setup has gathered all the information it needs to configure the system. We confirm all of our choices and we say yes, proceed with the changes. So at this point in time, Setup is behind the scenes configuring all the aspects of our system. So remember, we chose a standalone box, so we have both server and sensor components being installed and configured on this box. Because Setup detected internet access, it's automatically downloading an updated copy of the emerging threats rule set, because that's the IDS rule set that we chose. Right now it's initializing the Snorby database. We're going to look at 4 main user interfaces, and Snorby is going to be the first. Snorby is Web 2.0, Ajax, Ruby on Rails. It's a beautiful web interface for looking at your network-based IDS alerts. When you look at your network IDS alerts inside of Snorby, you can drill into individual IDS alerts, and from there, if you want to do more investigation, you can actually pivot to another web interface we have called CapMe. And this gives you access to the full TCP stream that originated that particular network-based IDS alert. Now you can see that the setup wizard is starting all the Security Onion services, so it's done with all the configuration. It's starting the services. We do have a little bit of configuration to do for ELSA, but as soon as that's done, we should be able to click OK a couple of times, and then once setup completes, we'll go to our terminal window and verify that all of our services are running properly. Okay, looks like setup is complete. We click OK, click OK, click OK. Now if we go to our terminal window, the first thing I want to show you here is SALT, this new functionality for configuration management and remote execution. So keep in mind that this is just a standalone virtual machine, but let's say you had 10 sensors, maybe 100 sensors or more. If you enable SALT on all of those, then you're going to be able to manage all of your sensors from your central master server. And that looks like this. So we start off with sudo salt star, meaning all of our salt minions, test.ping. Alright, so we get a true back from Doug Virtual Machine, the local salt minion. And again, if we had 10 sensors or more, you would see a response back from each of those machines, signifying that the salt minion was up and communicating with the salt master. So now we can change this to do command.run, and we can execute any command we want to. So we could do service NSM status, enter, and that's going to go and execute that command on every single one of our salt minions, and then it's going to return the output to us. So we can see that all of our processes are up and running. We see our Squeal server, we see our OSEC agent, we see Bro is up and running, and our entire Ethernet 1 stack of NetSniffNG, Snort, Prads, and then all of the Squeal agents that take those different data sources, data types, and makes them available to Squeal. So that concludes this video. In future videos, we're going to be taking a look at some of the user interfaces that you use as an analyst.